literally, I thought I was just going to be like flying Jimmy and the team around and staying in nice hotels and all that. So,
okay, so you thought this was just a normal job posting nearby Charlotte where you live.
Yeah,
okay.
It was going to be perfect.
Okay.
It started getting a little bit weird and wonky when pretty quick they sent me an NDA, so non-disclosure agreement. And at the top right, it had MrBeast on it.
Sex, seniority, and salary in that order.
Rock on. You're on 121.5, the emergency frequency.
It's a show by professional pilots for professional pilots.
I looked back at them and I said, I don't think we're at the right airport. And they go, I don't think we are either.
Each episode, we bring you fascinating conversations with industry experts.
I think I should be a go-to on how to deal with 63, 64-year-old men.
You're going to chase it like a dog chasing a school bus.
But we're not just about the serious stuff. We're here to have fun.
Currently on an overnight in Orlando, and this is by far hell. This is the worst place on earth.
It's a whole thing.
The 21.5 Professional Pilots Podcast is your destination for everything aviation, whether you're cruising in the flight levels or just starting your journey. Max, I can't think of an interview that is going to get me more street cred with my kids than this one. This is it. We are so excited today to welcome Armando to the program. You may know Armando. You might recognize him when you see this video. Armando was the contestant on MrBeast's recent video, a challenge to live on a Hawker for 100 days. Hi, Armando. Welcome. Are you still on the Hawker? Are you still?
You know what? You'd think that I would get tired of the Hawker. I love the Hawker. So I'm kind of like back to work already. But yes, it's very weird to have 400 million subscribers on MrBeast channels, and like 118 million people have already watched the videos. So that's a little weird to know that my face is out there.
Yeah, it's great. Have any of your passengers recognized you?
Yeah.
No, you know what's the most ironic? So we're all like corporate pilots here. The most ironic thing is that the video came out on a Saturday, and Sunday at lunchtime, I was in Enterprise, Alabama at a pizza joint, and somebody recognized me. I was like, out of all the places in the world, I wasn't expecting a pizza joint in Enterprise, Alabama.
Listen, there's not a lot to do in Enterprise, Alabama.
Right.
They're following YouTube very closely out there.
That must be
right.
it.
As soon as the video drops, they are on it. Like,
It was so funny because, all right, I'm going to set this up for a little bit. So back in January, Max and I were listening to a MrBeast interview on a podcast. And he had, I think at that point, was talking about how they were like, they're locking some pilot into the airplane. And he said on the interview, I remember it was like the mix of two airplanes. So we weren't even sure what it was. What did he say? Like a Hawker 2000 or something?
Yeah, a Hawker 2000. So we're like, it's either Falcon 2000. We're like, maybe it's the Hawker 4000.
I thought it was
Horizon.
the fourth.
That's what we thought it was.
Yeah. So we were like going back and forth. And then Max and I did a whole segment on like what we would do if we were on the plane. And then we never heard about it again. And so we're like, I wonder if that segment ever happened. And then we were in our living room. It was just a couple of weeks ago. And my kids were like, oh, it's on. So let's start from the beginning, Armando. How in the world did you get wrapped up in this incredible situation?
It's a great question. Ironically enough, that was the last episode of your guys' show that I listened to, was that episode. And I hadn't been cast at that point. So I was like, hey, man, all good questions, man. Dylan and Max, great questions. I wonder how they are going to do that. Yeah. No, so I fly for an accounting firm out of Charlotte, Part 91 on the Hawker. And our airplane just happened to be going into a big G inspection plus some other stuff. So my airplane was going to be down for like 12 to 13 weeks. My flight department's got 2 airplanes, 4 pilots. So they had put out basically a call for a pilot, just like we do, on Crew Blast or like business jobs or anything like that. And I responded to it. And I was like, hey, I'm Charlotte based, just 2 hours away from you. And my chief pilot said, good to go make some cash. So I responded to it. And the whole time that I was talking to him, like any one of us would approach a contract gig, right? I was like talking about safety. I was like, hey, I'll keep you safe. I'll keep you legal. And on top of that, I'll help you make good content. But literally, I thought I was just going to be like flying Jimmy and the team around and staying in nice hotels and all that. So.
Okay, so you thought this was just a normal job posting nearby Charlotte where you live.
Yeah,
okay.
It was going to be perfect.
Okay.
It started getting a little bit weird and wonky when pretty quick they sent me an NDA, so non-disclosure agreement, and at the top right it had MrBeast on it. I had to Google him. I gotta admit, I didn't know, right? Like, but then I told my daughter, who was 10 at the time, and she was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, street cred with the kids is exactly
Yeah,
where this all went.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what time of year was this then? Then in the winter, like beginning of the year?
Yeah. So they started this video has been in the works for over a year, right? So they had to acquire the
Oh.
airplane, they had to figure out what it was going to look like. So they have actually been working this for a long time. Back in November is when I think Jimmy, MrBeast, I think Jimmy had made that social media post because they had an idea what they wanted to do. By the way, I found all of this out afterwards, right?
Yeah.
They had an idea what they wanted to do. I don't know why they didn't go with 2 pilots. I knew right off the bat when he said like, "Oh, they're fresh out of school." I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work, but cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had an idea. They started talking to me, and it wasn't until just a couple weeks before we actually started filming in March that they asked me to send in a video, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird," you know. And right, and they're like, "Make sure it's a 90-second video, and it's make your inside thoughts, outside thoughts, and just show a little bit of your personality." I was like, "Okay, cool." And to be honest, like you guys, fly some pretty nice airplanes. I was like, "Man, this is like the world's #1 YouTuber, like a hawker. That's what he's got." Like, I was like, I thought he'd for sure have a Challenger's, 600, like something bigger. But whatevs, right? I mean, I'll go make
Yeah.
some cash.
Yeah.
And it was just a couple weeks prior that they were like, no, we want you to be the contestant. So it was a little bit weird and surprising.
Surprise. So they had already chosen the hawker. You weren't involved in telling them what airplane to get. That had already long since happened.
Not at all. Correct. Yeah, they had the airplane. They had an airplane manager. We'll get into the specifics of like the cool like airplane nerdy stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because it really was an impressive operation. But yeah, they had the airplane for about a year already.
Okay. So if anyone hasn't seen the video, and a couple episodes ago, we told you to go watch the video, but if you still haven't, essentially the premise was MrBeast, Jimmy, would challenge Armando to live on the airplane for 100 days. And if he lived on the airplane for 100 days, he would give him the airplane. So at what point did they offer that to you? And then was there some negotiation back and forth? Did they start with a year and then you said, let's go down on the days? Or like, how did that all work to figure out what the actual contest would be?
The 100-day part is pretty ops normal for Beast. If you notice, everything he does is a nice big round number that just kind of sticks in your mind. So it's whether it's 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or a million or whatever, it's always a nice big round number because that I think just kind of resonates, especially with kids, right? Like because the demographic for this is like Uber scrolling, right? Like they're scrolling so fast that it's got to grab your attention. So I think the 100-day stuff. The 100-day part of it is pretty standard for his long. What are they? It's something like survive or stay to win videos. That they're generally all 100. So that was pretty much set in stone. I didn't negotiate anything.
Okay,
not till the end.
Are you in or are you out? So okay, they tell you their idea, and then. How much discussion did you and your wife put into this? How much thought did you put into it?
Yeah, what does your wife say when you're like, honey, what do you think about me leaving for 100 days this time?
Yeah.
So I retired from the Air Force. I was a 22-year Air Force aircrew member, and the last. So I've been married for 10 years. So my wife had to put up with a lot of deployments. She had to put up. I think at the end of my career, I racked up 13 deployments, anywhere from a month to 6 months a couple times. So we had, like many of our professional pilots, right? And this is like sort of mentoring for young pilots that have just gotten married, but like you have to make your household resilient to travel. Whether that's like a recurrent, whether that's like a furlough, whether that's, going to a new job and like you go to initial for a month and a half, but then your sims get delayed, right? So now you're gone for 2 months, right? So you have to make your household almost like aviation proof. And that's exactly what we've done in our house, from the military foundations of like being gone all the time in the deployments to continuing my career. I just retired in 2019. In corporate aviation, we had that understanding. We've got that foundation, like the physical readiness, the spiritual, the financial readiness, the support network is all there. We've got we're like uber nerds about this. Like we've got a continuity book in our house where if she goes somewhere for work or if I go somewhere for work, either one of us can pick up the entire load of the house.
Wow.
So we've got our household pretty much set up for that. So from her standpoint, I missed her very much. I knew I was going to miss her, but I was never worried about her. My stamp of approval, my authority was my daughter. Because when I retired from the military, one of the reasons I did so was because I spent my last 2 years overseas. I was over in Europe, and I chose to hit the retirement button because I had become like this fictional character on an iPad for her. And like, when like you start sort of forcing your kids to FaceTime you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they really just want to go watch Bluey. Like that for me was like gut wrenching. So I chose to leave the military, go into aviation, and she was honestly the one that I was most worried about going into. But once she figured out that this was all a MrBeast video, like
that made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
That really greased
What kind
the
of
wheels.
feastables are we talking about here?
Yeah, man.
What can
Like,
you throw
she
in?
was just like, "You're a dum-dum. You got to go do it. I'll be the coolest sixth grader ever." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh man, I thought she'd love me a little bit more." But
Yeah, you're not gonna miss me, or
yeah. If you watch the video, she's pretty nonplussed about the whole thing. She's just another day.
Yeah, have fun, Dad.
Yeah. That's funny.
Wow.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's like the biggest setup right there for the probability of success.
Yeah.
And I feel like Beast does this a lot on his
things
videos.
are falling apart, you're not going to be able to hold it together for 100 days.
Well, that's what happens in his videos all the time. Is he never picks a single dude. Everyone, like the guy that's got to live in the grocery store or live in the woods or whatever, they've always got a family and a lot going on and kids to like add that element to it. It's never just, the 22-year-old guy with nothing.
Yeah. That's living on his mom's couch.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So you agree to do it. Do you have a like an overnight bag you pack, or how do you even like strategize? Like, what am I going to bring on the plane?
And like, just tell everyone what's the rules. Like, you get your phone. Do you get to bring an iPad? Is there internet? Is there Netflix? Like, what?
Yeah. So the biggest thing out of this video is there's a lot of people that are skeptical out there, right? Probably including us. It was all real. Everything you saw was real. Everything in the challenge was real. I really did not step foot off the jet for 100 days. Kind of spoiler alert there, but they took away all of my devices, so I had no communication with the family.
Oh,
yeah. So, and no devices in the airplane. So I had no Netflix, no Amazon, no nothing. What?
He's just data linked through ACARS. He's sending free text messages.
Man, this is 1998 Honeywell Hawker. We don't got ACARS.
Oh, okay.
I could scratch pad to myself and send myself love notes.
Yeah, transceiver. You should have bought your wife a transceiver. She could drive by and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ask me that again, because I did talk to people on the CTAF frequency for the airfield that we were on. Hold on, I'm gonna write that down because that is kind of a funny story. So yeah, I was basically allowed to go in with anything that any of the three of us would have on a week-long trip. So I had, the things that we corporate pilots pack. So I had a swimsuit, I had some gym clothes, some sneakers, enough toiletries, and for me, I'm bald, so I carry a hair trimmer, and then I carry a beard trimmer for the oxygen masks, right? So those are the things that I had going into it. That pretty much it.
But again, no iPad, because obviously an iPad is a integral part of it.
Right. They had an iPad ready for me, and I had ForeFlight. I had the flight safety app, which I asked for so I could have all my pubs on a EFB. And then it had the maintenance pubs on there. So a subscription to the maintenance pubs.
So it was like a real EFB.
It was a real EFB, but there was no connectivity to the outside world whatsoever. So like I couldn't check the news. I couldn't check anything. But that played in because my co-captain did have that stuff. So we had to kind of do like a separation of duties from what our traditional roles are, because like he had to check NOTAMs and the NAS, right? And like the FAA airspace website where you can see like where all the flow programs are going, where the ground stops are. So like he had to check all that stuff, but I could do the flight planning stuff on my EFB.
See, they didn't really make that clear. Like I was wondering, like, is he like, are they bringing in books and stuff? Like, so you're literally just there with the airplane pubs and your own thoughts.
Yeah,
that is. They should have made that more clear because that makes it a lot more of a real deal. Like,
I guess I never really thought like, oh, do you have your phone or not?
He was he was raw dogging it for 100 days. Have you seen that? Those videos where people go on those long flights and just stare at the screen? That was you.
Holy smokes!
Right, that's like a 14-hour transatlantic or I guess trans-Pacific flight, and they're just like staring at the seat back in front of them.
Yeah, that's it. You raw dogged it for 100 days.
Yeah, I had I had 3 books that I carried anyways with me in my flight bag. And one of them turned out to be super boring. It was like supposed to be like the satirical history of mankind. And I was like, oh God, I got to read this. Like I have 14 weeks in here. I'm going to have to read these books each like 4 times. So 2 of them were good and one of them was not. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, so funny, but like a lot of the challenge was I didn't know that going in, but it was like, how can he stay busy? How do you not lose your mind?
Yeah.
I had a good foundation from the military based on a lot of training that we did. So I was, the organizations that I was in were special operations organizations. So I had a lot of decades of training on like isolation and how to like resiliency and how to bounce back. Now they didn't know any of that. So it was just a cool, like I never knew in my life that that's how I was going to apply those skills. Thankfully I never like held captive in Kriplikistan or anything like that, but like I had no idea that that's how I was going to implement these skills that I learned in the military about basically how to survive isolation. And I did make some mistakes that I had to kind of bounce back from. So.
Wow. That's funny. We talk about on this show a lot about like adding tools to your toolbox that you never know you might need. Like that's the greatest example of all time, I think, right there. You never know if you might find yourself on a YouTube challenge video.
Right.
That's right.
Like you might need millions. Some of that mental toughness that you've built up.
Like go do water survival as corporate pilots because you never know if you're going to ditch.
Right. Exactly. So the first couple nights, maybe the boredom isn't the problem, but the sleeping seemed to be a problem. Hold on. Okay,
so the airplane's plugged into a GPU, so you have lights.
Yeah. So it was a real hangar. There was no studio. I guess they turned the hangar into a studio. So yes, I had a GPU plugged in, and then I also had like this giant 14-inch air conditioning duct because we filmed in North Carolina. So it was hot if you didn't have that in there.
Yeah, that's what but those don't have a thermostat on the end of the duct. Like, how do you keep it too hot, too cold? Like, how did you deal with that?
I did have a production team that was there 24/7, so very Big Brother style. When we were in the hangar, all of the cameras. So we're get into a little bit of technical stuff, especially for you guys like running the podcast. Some of the AV stuff. So you can't drill a hole without an STC. So we had put 14. They had put 14 cameras, a bunch of microphones inside this airplane. But remember, you can't make a single mod to the airplane. So just that feat alone took them months to figure out how to do it. Where in the baggage compartment, they basically had wall spreaders and like this Yeti lithium battery system that would power all the cameras. So it was super, super impressive because when we were flying, the whole system could run and still record, right? All the media and all the audio and everything was piped in.
Oh, wow.
When we were in the hangar, they had this giant like umbilical cable that went out the window and over to a control room. So 24/7 when I was in the hangar, there was always people there watching me, listening to me. This is pretty cool because nothing is scripted at Beast. They had an idea where they wanted to go with the video, but there was like theater seating inside this control room where the writers and the creatives would actually just sit there and watch me, and they would be like, this is what he's talking about. And then they would kind of fashion the next 10-day check-in offer based off of what I was either missing, talking about, But I was mic'd up the whole time. So to answer your question about the temperature, I could just like talk to the ether and say like, man, it's really cold in here. And then they would just crank it up a little bit.
Oh, I see.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So
they knew you were having problems sleeping right off the bat. So they knew that was going to be a carrot they were going to dangle right away. And yeah, I mean, there's like a little divan in the Hawker. That didn't look like that really worked.
It doesn't. It's not one of those ones where you can pull it out a little bit, so it goes kind of flat.
And on the standard Hawkers, so that I think the divan is only like 4'8" if I was to guess, right? It's like
so
3 seats. But
yeah.
on the old Hawkers, you could take the armrest down and fold it over. This one did not. So they spent, I don't know, $500,000 on the interior just for this challenge, because it was all custom made for this. And the ends of the couch did not move. So like I couldn't move. And then again, for kind of your professional pilot audience here, the middle backrest was a table. So like it folded down. So it was like screwed in. So I could take like the two end back cushions out to get some extra room, but the middle one would still be there and upright. And they took all the tools out, right? Like I tried to commandeer, like prison, right? Like I tried to commandeer a screwdriver here and a screwdriver there. And they were like, no, we're going to go ahead and take that from you. So I couldn't really make any modifications to the airplane. So the divan was total bust right away.
Did you try and lay in the little moat on the floor, like between the cabin seats?
Max, 11 inches. It's 11 inches. So like, I'm not a big guy. I'm not a gym rat or anything, but my shoulders and my hips are too wide to lay in there. So that was also a bust.
See, that's why the flat floor in the Bombardier, it's a big selling point, Max. We always talk about
this. Would have killed for a flat floor.
There you go, Paula.
So yeah.
And then so you were trying to like sleep with the club chairs, and it didn't really look like that worked either. So
so there was another problem in that the interior was brand new, so everything was rock hard, right? So I could move the seats on the seat tracks, right, on the brown what do we call that, brown rail, C rails, I don't know, whatever the seat tracks are. So,
we know.
So I could move the seats together and then kind of recline them both. That was probably the best solution. But it was basically just like trying to sleep in business class, not for a 10-hour flight, but like 24 hours. So, but that was the best solution. And then from a flight safety standpoint, they would always tell me, hey, try to get a good night's sleep tonight. You're flying tomorrow. That's all they would tell me. They wouldn't give me destinations. They wouldn't give me time frames or anything like that. But they did always assure that I had a good night's sleep before we flew.
And that was, you could see that you were like really struggling, and there's no way you're going to make it 100 days if you can't sleep.
And that's why they ended up
have any sort of consistency, that was smart. I mean, and then we saw them dangle the carrot of whatever, or a bed. Was it an actual jet bed?
Yeah, it was an actual jet bed. So like, hey, anybody from Jetbed wants to reach out, I'll do some of your social media stuff, because I bet you nobody slept on your bed for 6 months or whatever. I did find out afterwards that they weren't planning on offering me the bed till later in the challenge, but they realized that, one, I wasn't resting, and also two, like I was actually flying Jimmy around. So so
that's right.
MrBeast, the organization, does not own a jet. They still fly commercial, most of the team, and then they charter when they absolutely have to. So for 100 days, they had 2 pilots and a jet. So they took full advantage of it. And hopefully now they've seen the light of owning a jet, having in-house. And I flew Jimmy and the team, and Tia and Carl, Nolan, the whole crew. A lot of the videos that have come out in the past 3 months, we flew them to. So like there's a great date video, right? $1 date versus a $500,000 date.
Yes.
I flew them to all those locations, right? Apalachicola, Florida, Disney, Ohio, like we flew them all over the place.
Well, so that's the question. So when it was framed originally, we were under the impression, I don't really remember, Dylan, if you do, but he was like, yeah, and I'm going to give them the fuel to go wherever they want. And that's why we were like, oh, well, Yeah, that's no brainer.
This'll be great.
Just fly
Yeah,
the thing
sign me
around,
up.
do angel flights. Like you could do all kinds of crazy. So apparently that wasn't the case. You got to fly Jimmy around wherever he wanted to go.
It was great in theory, except there was a budget to the video, and they realized that they were like, "Ooh, we wish he hadn't have said that."
Yeah. Okay, so they never promised you that at any point, that you could just fly the airplane around whenever you wanted.
It ended up being quite the opposite, where they actually would just tell me where and when to fly. I did have
once they tasted the juice of that private jet travel, there was no it sounded like a job. Basically, you could go where you were asked to go.
Absolutely, and they did. I mean, we from a logistical standpoint, like these guys don't own a jet, and we were able to hit now like 3 locations in one day to do short shoots, and I'm taking the whole team, right? And the Hawker's not like, it's a midsize, right? So I can't carry a bunch of stuff, but it was enough to carry the film gear, the crew, and get them to, probably 3 times as fast to as many shoots, which for me was fun because they've never had a contestant that was doing their job while competing. So like fly days were easy for me.
Yeah, I bet. Did you ever worry that like they were just going to like shut the AC off at some point and try and force you to quit so they could keep the jet?
I don't know.
Oh, we're so sorry, Armando, to see you go. It's too bad. Hey, what's your schedule like though in the next 30 days?
Right.
Contract
hey, don't tempt me with a good time. Another spoiler alert. I have the jet, and I'm like, sure, I'll lease it back to them. Like, all right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you should have just sell it right back to him.
I've got a great deal for you. I've managed this airplane for you. And
I'm intimately familiar with all elements of the airplane,
especially the cabin. Real familiar there.
Very thorough pre-buy.
And this is a good time to throw in there too that we had an airplane manager. So the airplane was managed. It has been under management since they bought it. So we actually had a chief pilot. We had a DO on staff. We had a dispatcher. Because it was such a dynamic production that you kind of needed a whole aviation specific team. The MrBeast team, they're great at what they do, but they're kind of like 27-year-olds making YouTube videos. So we actually had a company called Elite Aircraft Management that really ran the day-to-day stuff. They were, they're also doing the maintenance tracking, all that, contacting FBOs, because it's weird when you're going to go overnight somewhere and you're telling the FBOs like, yeah, but we got a guy that's got to sleep on the airplane.
Right?
What kind of ground
right?
That's funny. What airport were you at?
The home airport was
filming?
Pitt Greenville, North Carolina, PGV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where all the MrBeast studios was in Greenville.
Oh, okay. So that's like their local airport.
Beautiful hangar. I mean, it was like hospital room, operating room. Everything was white. You saw it in the video. It was like epoxy floor.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another question I had. So the first thing I thought when I'm like, you were trapped in there for a couple of days, I'm like, dude, pop that emergency exit and just go like hang out on the wing, lay down. You could stretch out really there. Like, did you think about sleeping out there? What was the story there? Because eventually you did.
Yeah, I did. I would not pop the hatch unless there was an A&P around, right? Because it is a obviously pretty simple hatch to put in and out, but I didn't want to do something from my end that could potentially compromise the next day's flights that I didn't know was coming. So I really would only pop the hatch when either I knew that a maintainer was going to be around, or that I would pre-plan it. But like I would have to tell them like, hey, tomorrow I'm planning on popping the hatch. We need to have an A&P. And there was a local A&P. We had 2 maintenance teams working on the airplane because you need to, right? Like if it's a flying thing, it's not a prop. It's a real flying jet. So like tires and oxygen and lab and all that stuff. We had a whole maintenance team.
I guess we have to talk lab for a minute. Just using the lab, and then what? Now I don't know Hawkers very well. Is it honeypot or is it an external service lab?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's good. So you don't have to like carry a honeypot through your living room.
So let me tell you, my biggest mistake that I made in the whole 100 days was on day 2. So as you guys know, I was just eating. The only thing they gave me a galley cart, and it was just chock full of canned tuna and canned roast beef and canned chicken, stuff that I've never eaten before. and like Uncle Ben's microwave bagged rice, right? Because I had a microwave. My biggest mistake in the whole challenge was I popped one of those chicken cans, and that's like it's all just goop, and there's like a globule of fat on there that you have to get rid of. It's pretty gross. I took the chicken juice and I poured it in the lav, and that was the worst idea for like 3 days until the next lav service. It smelled like a chicken had died back there, right? And it was terrible. Even with the air conditioning on full blast, like that whole airplane just stunk for like 3 days.
Dude, they didn't service the lab.
It was not daily
for you?
because
Come on.
Yeah, because it was a lot of moving in and out. Remember that umbilical cord that was going to the control room? Every time you towed the airplane out, they had to disconnect all of the cameras, all of that stuff, pull the airplane out.
Yeah, but they can't just service it in the hangar, just wheel the...
Yeah.
What is this, an RV dump?
Weird rule at that specific airport is that to put the blue juice back in is a little gas engine. That airport has a rule that says you cannot run gas engines inside buildings.
No way. You could have just dumped it over the top.
Yeah,
come on, we've all done that. So Armando.
Now I didn't complain because I was isolated. The hangar door was shut. Every time there was a lav service, that gave me 30 minutes outside to see the sun.
Yeah. I guess that's true. That must be nice. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. A little bit of the physical challenges. After a while, you did get to improve your sleeping situation. What other physical issues did you go through? Lack of vitamin D, you can't see the sun. What did you notice, and how did you try to maintain as much?
Yeah, the biggest thing was the space, right? So the hawker from that 11-inch channel to the top is 5'8", and I'm 5'9". So I realized that I could kind of walk with my head tilted a little bit if I had no shoes on and no hat. And because the little, whatever that nub is on the top of the hat, right? That made a difference.
I do it all the time. Yeah.
It was 18 feet from the lav to the cockpit. So I would walk an hour a day, literally from left to right to left to right to right, or front to back, front to back, front to back, an hour a day. Right. So I'm surprised I didn't use more of that, because that would have been a great time lapse of just me walking. I figured out that I could walk 1.36 miles per day. And if I did that for 100 days ish, give or take, I could literally walk like 136 miles. 152 miles, I think, is what I came up with, is like over the course of 100 days, just 18 feet back and forth. So that was a way to get exercise. And then after day 10, I won $50,000. And in typical like MrBeast fashion, they gave it to me in aluminum cases. So I crammed all the money into as few cases, and then each one of them weighed, I think, 20-ish pounds. So like $10,000 weighs about 20 pounds. And I would use them for like curls, or I do like raises. I would do like triceps. And then, so I used the money cases as essentially kettlebells, maybe dumbbells, and then would just walk back and forth. But I lost 25 pounds in the challenge.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What was the weigh in and weigh out? So 25 pounds you lost. Wow.
Holy cow. Yeah,
even with that DoorDash that you eventually got, that would have been I could see you losing it on the canned tuna and fish and roast beef, but once DoorDash got in the picture, that would
had changed things.
I would think the weight loss.
I probably did gain a little bit of it back. So. Yeah.
A little bit back, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're trying to move around, do some push-ups, maybe, I guess, sort of. Did you notice anything else with your like mentally? Like, was it harder to focus? Was it harder to read? Like, what did that?
What did you do all day?
So, believe it or not, it was actually the opposite. And this is a takeaway that I from the video, from the challenge, from the whole experience. I actually found it easier because I think us as pilots, as family members, like we have kids, all this stuff, like life is just like a bit of a rat race, right? And I own this biplane too. So like if I'm not at home, then I'm up in the hangar, and like it's always just something. And when all of that is plucked away from your life and you're just kind of left with no device, no nothing, it was like some weird, like my therapist had just said, hey, I'm going to throw you into a monastery in Tibet and then just be, man. Like, so I actually found it easier to focus. I was sleeping like 10 hours a night and I was able to kind of like refocus and realize, which led to the takeaway that I just had too much on my plate. Like I think we kind of all do, right? Like we all have too much on our plate, and to have that all removed on purpose, it's something that I'm now trying to integrate into my current life is like slow things down, take time to read books, like take time to just do a walk, right? Like those are the first things that always go in our rat race kind of lives.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny because I was reflecting recently on the early part of COVID when it was, in Arizona, it was nice weather then, but a lot of it was the same. Like a lot of our busy stuff was just removed. Oh, the kids' baseball games are gone and the after school activities and all. And it was just like, you're just going to kind of hang out in your house. Now we still had movies and TV and stuff, but it was, I kind of relate to that a little bit in what you're saying. So, okay. What day do you feel like in the challenge you sort of like hit your groove and you're like, okay, I got this. This is I can make it.
So I knew from the moment I stepped foot on the airplane, I knew I could make it the 100 days. My military friends and my close friends have now basically all said they didn't know who they were messing with, because none of this was in the casting process, and I knew I could make it the 100 days, no problem. I expected there to be a little bit more of a mental health roller coaster, but one of the things that I had been armed with previously from, again, that kind of sort of training and in isolation and stuff was that critical to success was going to be like physical activity, cleanliness, and routine. And so we already talked about the physical activity. The cleanliness part, I didn't have any cleaning supplies other than a couple of washcloths that they had left. I think just when the interior was redone. So I would clean just with potable water from the lav and from the sink, and then I would just kind of clean the seats and make sure, because like it was white leather. I said that to the cameras. I was like, really? Like white leather and black carpets? And then the carpet, I would spend probably an hour a day, just like with a cup, a paper coffee cup from the galley, just plucking all of the white bits, like all of the, I don't know, dead skin, all this stuff. And I would just clean for an hour a day, the whole airplane front to back every single day. And that was kind of part of like the resiliency and the routine was like clean myself, clean the airplane, like get some exercise type, so that was.
Did you have a watch on? Like you could
do
a time.
Because right? I think they would have, in every other challenge, they always take all their timepieces away, but like it's an airplane. So there was like 7 different ways to tell time.
Yeah, I would figure there's
FMS, there's 2 clocks up front. There's all kinds of ways to tell time. So they were like, just keep your watch.
Well, how did you like maintain your personal hygiene?
Behind the scenes, this is why we're doing this. One of the reasons I turned the shower down early on was because I had these washcloths, I had potable water, I had hand soap, and I had a microwave. So basically, I had first class service, like hot towel service. So every single night, part of my routine, and you saw the cups in the video probably. One of those cups said, "Clean myself," and I would go back into the lab and then like get a nice 45 seconds in the microwave, a nice hot soapy towel, and I would clean all my Netherlands and I never stunk. I had told my Obina, I got to give a shout out to Obina, who was going to be here, but he actually had a trip today. And Obina, my co-pilot, I had told him, I was like, hey man, if you ever get into this airplane and I stink, you got to let me know. And he never did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at what point did they offer the shower to you? For anyone that didn't see the video, Mr. Beast loves to do is he loves to trot out these little deals to you where you've at some point won some cash, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'd love to take that cash back and in exchange give you XYZ." So the shower was trotted out, and it was expensive, I think. So tell us the whole shower story.
Yeah, so that was the first challenge on day 10.
Yeah.
The advantage to the shower, now I had already figured out pretty quick that I could stay clean, but like the advantage to the shower was it was extra space.
Right.
And it was a beautiful thing. Elvis, who was the set designer, is just like an amazing artist. And the way I've been describing it is like like when you used to see the space shuttle or like one of the SpaceX rockets and all that stuff, and there's like the tower, and then there's like the jet bridge that goes across, and there's like that last cab before the astronauts like climb into the capsule. It was just like that. It was like this beautiful work of art that was like perfectly painted to match the airplane, and it would roll the giant thing. I mean, it's 10 foot by 10 foot by probably 20 feet high, and the whole thing would roll to the airplane door, and it had a plank like a pirate ship that would go inside the door. So it would have maybe not doubled my space, but a lot of extra space. But I did turn it down for $50,000. So yeah, that was the day 10 offer.
Yeah. Wow, that was a good move. And when we were watching it, my kids were like convinced you were gonna take that. So good work. Good work. Okay.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes is I was already staying clean, so I was pretty confident.
Yeah, I wondered a little bit about how you did that. I was like, I wonder if they're getting a Dude Wipes sponsorship or something and sending them up to you.
Yeah, I think they did. I think DoorDash or Dude Wipes did sponsor it though.
Did at some point. Let's take a quick break to tell you about a friend of the show, Timothy P. Pope. Tim is a certified financial planner who specializes in helping professional pilots chart a smarter financial course. Whether you're focused on retirement, investment management, or strategic tax planning, Tim brings the tools and insight to help you make the most of your career and beyond. He's also the host of the Pilot's Portfolio podcast, where he breaks down real-world financial strategies designed specifically for pilots. Timothy P. Pope, helping professional pilots make the most out of life. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the actual flying then. You mentioned that Obina was your co-pilot. So he had also like accepted a short-term job with this company to basically support this airplane?
Yeah, exactly what I described that I thought I was going to do.
Yeah.
Was him. I thought I was going to be him. So he's a contract hawker guy. He's got a lot of charter experience in Africa and Europe. So he came to me with probably 4,000 hours. I think 3,000 of it in hawkers, and really, really experienced. For the airplane nerds, this particular airplane is a Honeywell airplane, so kind of a little bit older avionics. I'm a Proline guy. So I had been trained previously in Honeywell, but I hadn't flown Honeywell. He had a bunch of Honeywell time. So together, and we'll get into like the CRM and the safety part of it, but like together, I had a lot of, I think what I brought to the table was a lot of like weird dynamic flying experience from both the military and like the Reno Air Races and like the guy, some of our mutual friends. And then I flew aerobatics in Europe. I flew an extra in England, amateur competitions, and then like I've always flown warbirds and tail draggers. While Obina was like charter guy with lots of avionics time and all that stuff. So I think together, I was able to bring like what they wanted from a production content, and he was able to 100% back me up as I was fumbling through the FMS because I just hadn't used it in years.
The old universal system, universal box with it. Max and I both flew the Honeywell stuff.
And it's like just different enough that you're like, oh man, how do I do an altitude restriction? Like, gosh.
No scratch pad. It's like completely opposite. Yeah, it's so hard to go from Collins to that, but
right,
totally different.
Wow. So how many hours did you fly the airplane total? Do you know, like, or estimate in that time?
We actually kept pretty detailed records because of the carbon emission offset.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. So Jimmy is very much committed to that. So we actually flew about 120 hours 40 days-ish, mostly short flights. Yeah. There was a lot that didn't make it to the video. And again, it was mostly like taking them to shoot. So like his Feastables team, right? His chocolate bar team, they're up in New York. So I think we did like 3 Teterboro trips. The stuff that he filmed with Gordon Ramsay, we flew him and his fiance Tia down to Miami to film that. We flew up to Akron. He did a short with Kai Cenat, right? Like, so like I flew him up to Akron. So it was a lot of flying that wasn't part of the challenge.
Okay, hold on. So you go into Teterboro. What FBO did you go to? This will help a lot of people like visualize this, right?
Yes, Signature West specifically at Teterboro.
Okay, so you pull onto the ramp and you shut down. Like, is this airplane doesn't have an APU, does it?
It does have an APU.
Okay, so you have an APU. So, like, are you leaving the APU running all night, or are they hooking you up with external power, or what's like? How does this work?
It depended. They kind of left a lot of that to me based on weather. So they would ask me. Obviously, I could run the APU, but again, because this is a very unique audience that we're talking to, I knew I was going to win the jet. I didn't want to run the APU because that's just hours on the APU, right? So I'm like, that's fine, cool. Like, I'll just camp for a couple months, right? Like,
unless I needed an inspection, did you check to see like if there's an hourly inspection coming up, you could run it through that and have them do that?
Right, yes. The answer to that is yes. That was my second mistake that I'll tell you about later. Let me write that down. Second mistake. But so I didn't want to run the APU the whole time. Plus, it was kind of annoying, right? And it burns gas and it's loud and whatnot. So if it was nice, I would just kind of say, I'm cool just camping. And then a lot of the places that we stayed overnight, I wouldn't even request a GPU because all I needed was a 200-foot, 115-volt AC cord extension to any hangar wall, interior or exterior. And with that, I had a camping air conditioning unit that they had bought me. Because I had actually kind of said like, hey, I don't really want to run the APU, but if it gets hot or cold, get me something like this, like you would put on a tent or on a Jeep camping thing. And it was perfect because it would either cool down the cabin 10 degrees or warm it up if I needed to. So all I really needed to live life was this 115-volt regular household plug.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like just run an
Wait,
extension
but what
cord
about
out
your
to you?
hot towel
Like,
service?
yeah, just be hanging out. Did anybody come peek their head and be like, hey, why are you still
there? The line guys wondering?
The line guys were awesome everywhere. And I found out that every 20-year-old knew this was happening. Like, I would land places, and then once they figured out, be like, oh, the guy's got to sleep. And they'd be like, this is the MrBeast challenge, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because was there the MrBeast logo painted on the airplane?
No, there was no identifying information whatsoever. The airplane is like double blocked on FlightAware. I mean, you really have to know, like, you'd have to know the tail number, and you'd have to track it on ADS-B Exchange. And then nothing, right? It was a dry lease from the production company. So like all kinds of plausible deniability.
Layers. Yeah, I gotcha.
But man, like 20-year-olds on Reddit, they know. And
that's right.
I would land places and be like, "Oh, this is the MrBeast challenge, isn't it?"
That's what I tell my kids. The Snapchat army has been activated.
Yeah.
Everybody, the word travels quick.
Did you ask for a newspaper? Were you allowed to get a newspaper from the line guy?
Yeah, coffee ice papers.
Obina would sneak me coffee ice newspapers. They would take it away from me. There was I'm going to give a shout out to Shelter Savannah because that team was awesome. They all knew exactly what was happening. There were some, like, weirdly enough, like half the line team was a MrBeast super fan, and their line lead, Bryant, you know who you are. That guy snuck me some coffee pretty early up in the challenge because I had no coffee. I didn't have a coffee maker on board.
Oh man!
What?
So.
Oh, you just had had the heated thing? You just didn't have an actual coffee maker?
They took the carafes out. So, so worse than like no booze for 100 days was no coffee. So he snuck me a couple. We went to Savannah a couple times because they were Jimmy and the team were trying to blow things up, and North Carolina wouldn't let them because there was a fire ban. So Shelter Savannah, great team out there, snuck me some ice cream and coffee.
Wow.
But then, like when you were there in Teterboro, I thought you couldn't have a phone. So how did you order because you eventually got
DoorDash.
DoorDash,
Yeah.
right? So how did you order DoorDash if you didn't have a device?
When on day 30 when I got DoorDash, they gave me a phone. The only app on that phone was DoorDash. And then by whatever like wizardry, they had locked the phone to the app. So like I couldn't even close the app, right? So it's just like an iPhone and it only does DoorDash.
We're gonna pay. You're gonna have to pay $1,000 to recharge the phone.
Wait, and wasn't there something too? You figured out you could get like other stuff from DoorDash, not just food.
I had no idea. Did you guys know that? You can literally order anything.
I do now.
Yeah, I do now.
Wow.
Yes.
So the first thing you get access to DoorDash. I can't remember if this was showed in the video. What was the very first meal you ordered? What were you craving the most, and what were you like? Yes, get me this right away.
Tacos, and I think they used the line like, "I just wanted tacos," because I had been eating all this canned stuff. Like, I didn't want to go like full bore and like get a full meal and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, if I'm gonna order something, I don't want to tear up my stomach because for 30 days I've just been eating canned things. I just wanted tacos, and it was actually Nolan, who is one of Jimmy's crew, who was like, you can order anything off of DoorDash. And I was like, what? And it was Jimmy's credit card, so we just started. Like he ordered all the decorations. That was his idea, and and then after that, I was like, well, shoot, I can order clothes, I can order underwear, I can order cleaning supplies, more books, right? And that's how I ended up reading 14 books is just off of DoorDash. I did try to order a Kindle, and they took it away from me because they were like, and then I tried to order a Switch, and that also went away.
It's good. Wow. Yeah, it seems like once the DoorDash thing really seemed like it just was the big game changer for you there. And then once you're able to get that, did you ever do anything cool where you flew to a city and then had a DoorDash from like a unique restaurant in that city?
Yeah, that as pilots, I think we all know some great restaurants in pretty much every city. So yeah, I mean, it was legit. Like if we were in New Orleans, I got some Café Du Monde and some beignets. And,
there you go.
And the big Gino and Pat's right in Philly. Like, so my solution was like order one from both. And I will not say which one was better, because all of Philadelphia and New Jersey will.
You don't want to start riots.
Yeah,
that's right.
And even that there's Max's also in Philly. But yeah, I would order. Like we went to Key West. I got Cuban sandwiches in Key West, and a big. We went to Lakefront, so I got crawfish etouffee in Lakefront. Yeah, so cool. Everywhere we went, I tried to get something local.
So you're just basically being a
pilot at that point.
Delving into the local cuisine.
I told them like they didn't give me any lines ever, and I was like, like as a corporate pilot, I could literally give you the best DoorDash ad because I know. Like, I know the FBO, I know the address, I know what time I'm going to be there. I can literally order like a steak dinner, like from Sorellini's, to meet me at the FBO with like DoorDash, whatever you call it, like order in advance.
Yeah, I literally did that today. I had in Monterey.
Do you guys remember like before Uber Eats and DoorDash? Like, man, like either the FO or the captain had to take the crew car. Good, you have 1 hour.
Yeah, or you could order a pizza. That was about it.
Drive somewhere.
Or
get some
McDonald's, get some Sonic.
Yeah, that was it.
Game changer for corporate pilots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was a game changer for airline pilots too during COVID when all of the hotel restaurants were closed.
Oh,
and there was literally nowhere to go. That's why Southwest gave everybody Dash Pass for a long time.
Oh, really?
Look at that.
I didn't know that.
People were like, what are we supposed to eat? Like, what are we supposed to do?
We should do like a joint ad then.
There you go.
Well, I took some time after that. That wasn't quite that
good. Okay. We got to talk about the airplane here a little bit. Anything else before we shift gears into the airplane, Max? Any more questions about the experience? Oh, or you said you had made a mistake you were going to tell us about, your second mistake, or did we already cover that?
Yeah, the second mistake was that as the PIC, I had asked for access to the maintenance tracker.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because like I needed to know the airplane status sheet.
Sure. Airworthiness, of course.
My responsibility. But I could see the flight schedule. And I told them that. I shouldn't have told them that. I did tell them, I was like, hey, am I supposed to be able to see the flight schedule? Because I can see like there's flights coming up. And they were like, they plucked that right away. Like the hand of God just came down and plucked that access.
I mean, what's the difference though, dude? Like you may as well just have been a charter pilot. Like you don't know what's coming tomorrow anyway. So like you're on reserve. Anyway.
Yeah, that was my second. That was what I consider my second mistake.
You probably needed a little excitement in your life.
So you're killing time in this plane. You know you're going to win. You're confident. So your mind has to shift to like, okay, I'm now going to own a Hawker. What is it, an 800?
It's an 800 XP, yeah.
800 XP. So you have to start thinking a little bit. I mean, in the video, you guys covered a little bit. Oh, I'm going to take my family because some cool places maybe and stuff. When you start thinking about actually owning a Hawker, as I'm gonna guess that maybe you're like Max and I, where like probably you wouldn't normally be able to own a Hawker.
Correct.
So you got to be thinking about like, oh, this will be so cool, but how am I really going to do this? So like, just walk us through all the thought process of
what's the insurance premium going to be?
You know how expensive it is.
What kind of programs?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Walk us through your thought process when you're like, wait a minute, I'm going to win this thing, and then what?
Yeah, I knew I needed to bank cash because the airplane, I don't know if this is like too much information, but it's not on programs. So I knew that was going to be a hit in general because the Beast team, again, not being aviation people, they are able to pay for everything on condition. And they're able to make a couple phone calls to like Honeywell and like, if they need a part. So the airplane's not on programs. And I figured that out just from, because I had nothing else to do but like reading the logs, reading the flight logs and all that was already in the airplane. And then, I mean, I am very much involved in my own flight department, which we, 2 Hawker 800 XPs. So like operating budget per year for 100 hours, even on programs is 1.25 million, right? So like, I don't have that, right? Like, so I knew it was going to be a challenge. And I needed to bank some money. The opportunities to bank money didn't really materialize like I thought they were going to. When I took the gym, and I know we're moving into like airplane stuff, but like when I took the gym, that was either keep the $50,000 that you already have, or use that $50,000 for the gym. And I chose to double my space, which hindsight was a great idea. But I paid. My balance went to zero when I bought the gym. Bought, air quotes. So it wasn't until the scavenger hunt challenge that I got another 50,000. So really, I only got like 50K in prize money, and I know that's a lot of money to a lot of people, right? But it
not when you're
in the frame of this particular experience. I mean, you guys know that the insurance is $27,000 a year for an older airplane. The hangar is $2,500 a month. The fuel is going to be $3,000-$4,000 a pop.
Yeah.
So like, those numbers were keeping me up at night. But I didn't know what was happening next. I didn't know what the next offer would bring at any point. So I just kind of decided, whatever, I'm just all in it for the experience, make good content. And to their credit, the Beast team is helping me out with some of those costs, right? So like, without kind of going too much into the details, they knew that I was losing sleep over all of those numbers. And they said, hey bro, we got you. This is a feel good video. And you're talking to 15-year-olds about tax implications, and like the difference between 80% and 100% bonus depreciation.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, they're not really interested in that. We got you. Just
focus on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
just be happy, bro. Have a good time.
He's monitoring them.
Quit writing budgets up.
Beautiful bill pass. I need that depreciation quickly.
Yeah. I figured this out. This is going to be a big liquidity event for me. And I
big
need
difference between 80 and 100%.
Yeah. Holy smokes. Okay. So you got the plane. Oh, wait. Okay.
Well, wait, hold on a minute. The one thing before we get to that is, so at the very end of the video,
right,
they give you an offer for another 100 days or $500,000, right? Okay. So talk to us about that real quick. Because it seems like this wasn't that hard for you. Like you kind of had,
especially by the end.
Now you're like in the zone.
Gym.
You got your routine. You figured out how to like wash your armpits. Like you got DoorDash. You already had the gym, right? Like you have, like you kind of have built up a lot of you've covered a lot of ground at this point. Like so, talk.
Yeah, so it's kind of a two-pronged thing. Most importantly was my family, and that was real because, so my daughter's now 11. She turned 11 in June. And I did the math because that's, again, nothing but time. But I figured out that I had 2,533 days left before she has the decision to leave me or not, for good, right? Till she turns 18. And I was like, in my head, it wasn't frivolous but it was like entertainment. In my head, I could justify it being away for 100 days. When I started thinking about being away for 200 days, almost 10% of the time that I had left with my daughter before she chooses to leave me or not, I could not justify having spent 10% of my remaining time when I had already missed 2 years of her life in the military, right? Not counting trips and deployments. So this is a little therapy session right now. My dad was an airline pilot. My brother's an airline pilot. My dad was an airline pilot in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where it was just common to leave your family, right? Like it was common to have a second family or a third family. And that's what I grew up with. And I had kind of promised myself that I would not be that. So all of the decisions I've made in my professional career, both in the military and in aviation, it's the reason why I'm not at a 121. It's the reason why I fly Part 91 for a great family, a great, organization, is because I control my schedule. I can still say no to things, and going to PTA meetings is more important to me than the potential career earnings of $21 million. So in the moment, I couldn't justify spending 200 days away from her when I knew on day 100 I had the jet in the bag. I had the equivalent of $2.5 million. And what wasn't super clear is that it was an extension. So another 100 days, that meant if on day 102 or day 198, I slipped off the front door or off the wing,
everything
I would
was
lose
at
the
risk.
challenge.
Or something too, like you have to consider, like what if like your wife got sick or something? Like they're gonna have to tell you, and you're gonna have to leave. Like there's risk in there too, not just of your, how tough you are to get through it, but there's like
external
risk of something happening or a car accident, God forbid, or something like that. Then like you're out in a second, and that's it. So
wow.
Yeah, I figured when you saw your family too, like but what I was curious about was it like I figured there was some sort of calculation, like because how much time did they give you to decide when
10
they
days.
sprung that on you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you had a lot of. I can remember if it was like, okay, you have 15 minutes.
No, it was 10 days, but
or you had time to.
Yeah,
really
but then Jimmy made me give my final answer when they were standing out there in front of me in the hangar. Yeah, that was all real.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so you give your final answer. Seemed like a pretty easy decision. Now this jet, you got it. What's next?
Well, the we had deferred some maintenance, so right away it had to go in for X-rays. So right now it is sitting it's south of Charlotte, and it's the interior is all out. They're doing structural X-rays. Needs a new windshield. So like we deferred some minor maintenance. So right off the bat, I've got $150,000 maintenance bill for all the inspections that were due. I do want to fly it, but to be honest, I got to sell it. So like my plan is to sell it. It's not on programs, so it cost me to buy into all those programs, the avionics, the airframe, the engine, all that stuff would be like $500,000 to get it up to speed for where it is in its life cycle. So I really don't have a choice but to sell it, which is okay, right? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that's.
I think you do that going in.
There's
like
no way.
all of a sudden operate a hawker for
5
years.
Do you think
I think we all know that people that know airplanes.
We were all like, yeah,
we're pretty clear on that.
Exactly. Do you think you'll get a chance, or maybe you already have got to fly your wife and daughter in the plane? Are you guys going to do like one trip before you sell it? Do you have any plans?
Yeah, it depends. Like, I mean, if I get a buyer, so it's not obvious, it's not publicly listed, but we are working through some of the connections to see if somebody is interested in the airplane before we list it. I do want to take one trip. My daughter in the video said we got to go to Orlando. So like, thankfully she wants to go to Universal and not Disney. So, so I would like to do one trip to Orlando, but at the end of the day, I'll probably just take some of that money and just dry lease my boss's airplane. So like, the key to flying is other people's planes.
Right.
So, so that includes some of our mutual connections where I'm like, I don't want to,
right.
I just want to fly your plane. I don't want to own one of these. Like, I don't need an Epsilon, but I'll fly your Epsilon.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's kind of the plan is I would love to do one flight in it. But
hold on real quick. Dylan.
Yeah.
Can you just for all the listeners, can you tell them what an Epsilon is?
No, I cannot.
No, because then everybody will want one.
It's a it's a badass French like military trainer. But yeah,
okay,
yeah. And then I
actually
stay current in the PC-12. I do a lot of owner mentorship and instruction in the PC-12. So that's like for me the perfect airplane for our family. So I'll just one of the owners that I've mentored in the last 5 years or so, I'll probably just end up in some kind of dry lease agreement. In a Pilatus NG or something like that. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Armando, you're making way too much sense right now. It's really sucking the fun out. There's a lot of 15-year-olds watching. Could you quit?
You guys told me that this was a professional pilot. Like, these are the real questions.
No,
real talk.
I know it's still kind of a letdown. I just wanted to.
What would you, Max?
That's exactly what we would do if you would have won. Like, if there was more prize money and you ended up walking away, because is this the biggest?
Well, hold on.
Value of prize
outside of these games, Jeffrey.
Oh yeah,
Jeffrey Allen won much. I won't ruin it if you haven't watched Beast Games season 1, but he's got the. So I'm not number 2. Yeah.
Okay, and so that's probably why there wasn't a bunch of cash along the way too.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
So Armando, you had to have at that time basically had a number in your head. You're like, okay, I can operate this thing for a year if I win this much, or maybe this. Did you have some ideas about like kind of? Did you have a goal in mind? Like, if I could just get 3 months worth of operating, that'd be cool. Or like, what were you thinking?
That's exactly it. So I had calculated 3 months, $161,200 is what I needed to run it for 3 months, and I was hoping that I would have offers along the way to bank that kind of money.
Yeah.
Now I did turn down a Lamborghini. That was a $200,000 car, but to be fair, I didn't know it was a Lamborghini. It was just a mystery case. So, so that would have covered those 3 months. My current vector would be completely different if I had taken the car, sold the car, plus the little extra cash that I made. But hey, it is what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, maybe one of our listeners will, maybe their boss is looking for a hawker. Maybe we can, just send you a buyer real quick.
Lolo Miles, cold air.
Yeah. New interior.
Yeah.
It's lightly used.
It's actually a great airplane. Comes with a jet bed.
Oh, it does?
There you go. No, I'm just kidding. I'll throw it in for $5,000. You know, the jet beds are like $9,000.
They're insane.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked you. I'm like, was that like a real jet bed?
That was a real jet bed.
Those are expensive.
Is it really? Is it pretty comfortable?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It really was. Yeah.
It's worth the $9,000.
Totally worth that $9,000 to have like Hawker 800 XP embroidered on the side of it.
Did you deflate it every day too?
No, it was actually, if I was in the hangar, I would only deflate it to go fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's a funny behind the scenes thing. So like I got to know Jimmy on these trips, and he is so busy, right? Like he operates on a different level than the rest of us. And there were times where I would, again, sort of take off my contestant hat, put on my airplane captain hat, and be like, hey man, I treated him like my principal, like my client. And there would be days he shows up and I'd be like, hey, you're looking kind of tired. Like, do you want me to do something for you? Can I get you like some ice, some specific thing? I can DoorDash you something, right? And I had told him, it's like, hey, if this is your time to disconnect, then like I'll set up the jet bed and you can get a couple hours rest if we're coming back from the West Coast or something like that. So it was great to get to know him. And his fiance, they're super, super nice people. But I ended up just treating him like we would any of our principals, right? So that was pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay, and of his friends, and this is my kids wanted me to ask you this. Of his gang of his buddies, who is your favorite?
They all have their the funniest is Carl.
Okay,
by far. The nicest is Chandler, and Tariq is pretty cool too. But Tariq wasn't around very much. And then Nolan was just a trip. I don't know if you saw the video with him going on dates with Madison Beer.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I love
a little awkward.
I love me some Nolan. But they're all different. They're all cool people. But especially his fiance, she was so nice. It was like a little brightness to the days when because she would just come in. Jimmy's a busy guy. She would come in. She would just sit there and talk to me. We'd hang out and just talk about things. So like really, really nice people all around. And the production team, all the producers, the writers, everybody, camera, lighting that was traveling with them. They're all like super cool people.
It's amazing what this evolution that we've had in the entertainment industry where like, do you remember like, I don't know, was this maybe 20 years ago when like Jackass and Bam Margera and sort of like the first generation of like, what if we give a bunch of 20-year-old dudes some cameras and see what they make? And now MrBeast has taken to this next level where it's like, no one can tell him what he can or can't do. And oh, by the way, he essentially has an unlimited budget to make these videos. And like, I don't know if you could explain that to somebody in the entertainment industry 40 years ago. Like their head would explode. They'd be like, I don't even get this. But it's just got to be amazing to watch somebody where there's no rules. There's no studio that says you can't do this or you have to do this or this idea is dumb. And watching that process must have been very interesting for you, I imagine.
Yeah, I totally nerded out over it. And like I have friends in the LA film industry, and there are advantages to doing this, right? There's no union. You don't have to wait for a lighting guy. You don't have to wait for, which is right. I mean, there's a place for that. That's how LA works. But these guys are just so dynamic and it's so unscripted that you have to be able to just pivot, to the next thing. And they make it work.
Which is interesting because the traditional LA model is about to come to a close here with AI and a scripted movie and things like that. I think that's going to be creatable.
It's going to be so interesting to see
cheaply.
The changes.
Whereas the stuff that YouTube is happening, real life, that's unscripted, unpredictable, you take it as it comes. That's a lot more difficult to do with with AI. So anyway,
now.
Good stuff.
One of the things that I do want to talk about, and it's kind of like Obina, is the flying part of this. So we got to do, all three of us fly corporate jets. We got to do stuff that you would never, ever, ever do. So like when we shot that Niagara Falls shot, that's where like some of that CRM really came in, because Obina is a great charter captain. But I was like, nah, man, we're just going to take this airplane down VFR 3,000 feet, and we're just going to do circles over the falls so we can film it. And he was like, what? Right? So it takes a lot of coordination to take a jet and just like, hey, cancel IFR. We're going to go VFR, and we're going to be mixing it up with a Piper Cherokee 6s that are doing tours over Niagara Falls, right? When we went down to the Keys, that was another one where I was like, hey, I asked the producers, I was like, do you guys want to film the Keys? And they're like, we can do that. I was like, yeah, we can do that. We just talk to Navy approach, drop down to 1,500 feet is our lowest. And we'll just, flaps 15 it and just go up and down the Keys for an hour. But the air to air stuff is I don't know if any of the raw footage is ever going to get released or if they're going to do it behind the scenes, but that was an amazing day because we so that particular day we were starting in Van Nuys, so incredibly crowded airspace, right? So our air-to-air stuff, our photo ship was a non-turbo Bonanza, right?
Okay.
So what's the back speed of a non-turbo Bonanza at sea level? 150, right? So Henry Beale is the guy who owns that company, and Mark Loper was the videographer. And I brought in, you guys know Tommy Ishii. So I brought in Tommy Ishii to sit right seat for me because he's a formation instructor pilot. So we had, from a CRM standpoint, we had 3 people in the jet, we had 3 people in the Bonanza, and we did like a full up military style briefing for each location that we did air to air. So it's probably 10 people in the airplane, full like, blind procedures, rejoin procedures, primary, secondary, tertiary frequencies, who's doing what, breakaway procedures. And we were able to shoot some of those, the first third of it was literally over like Camarillo, like Santa Barbara, Santa Monica Pier. Like, man, that's some crowded airspace. And we were tucked in there, 3,000 feet, formed up with a Bonanza, doing these air-to-air shots. From there, we popped over to Bullhead City, Arizona, because the producers wanted something that looked like Middle America. And Henry Beale, just a genius, he was like, "Oh no, I know this place in Nevada that's just green fields." And we were like, "What? Really?" So like popped over there, we both landed, we both got gas, we rebriefed the whole thing, and then did 1,000-foot or 1,500-foot AGL formation, with Tommy and I taking turns flying, and then Obina in the jump seat looking at instrumentation, weather, traffic, terrain, airspace, all that stuff, right? So typical kind of Air Force crew where you have the flight engineer monitoring all the things, and then like one guy's just locked in, and then the other guy's kind of helping. And so we did that, and then the Grand Canyon shoots, right? So like, what's the elevation of the rim of the Grand Canyon? It's like 6,000 feet, right?
Yeah.
So we were probably at 8,000 to 9,000 feet, which on a hot May day, this would have been May, density altitude is probably 12,000, and this non-turbo Bonanza. So we had to do that shoot where we're doing rejoins. He's kind of coming downhill, so he can at least keep up 145. And we had, 3 pilots on the airplane. We put orange tape on the gear horn, orange tape on the gear handle, orange tape on the gear horn circuit breaker. And we were like, there's 3 of us on here. Do not forget to put the wheels down, because we had to pull all those safety protections to keep up with the Bonanza at 140. Because if you go to, below 20% power, it'll start yelling at you. So the CRM that went into this, the briefing that went into this, for us aviation nerds and pilots, it was awesome. I mean, we were doing stuff that you would never, ever, ever do with a corporate jet. So that was 100% the highlight. I'm glad they used that much of it in the 33-minute video. But we filmed for that was a full 14-hour crew day doing air to air.
And did you suggest that, or were they already planning on doing that?
They had wanted to do it, but they didn't know how to do it. And I was like, I know a guy. Right? Like, I mean, we've all got connections, and I was like, you guys want to do it? We need to go to California if we want to do some real air to air stuff. And Tommy was my only choice. There's some great formation pilots out there, but I've known Tommy. He's in the Reno sport class family. I've flown with him. I trust him, and he's flown Hawkers, and so he was my only choice. And together, we were all as a team able to knock out a really, really great day of air to air shoots.
That's
20 feet,
wow,
probably 20 feet off the. I mean, the Bonanza was inside our wingtip, so all safe, of course. But my only regret is I forgot to turn the landing lights off. Look at the video. I forgot to tell all the.
I'll have to go back and look at the video.
I forgot to turn the landing lights off.
I think I remember seeing that, honestly.
Totally spaced on it, because you're used to just keeping them on below 10,000, and I was like, I just didn't even think, because we, so I was like, oh man, I should have turned the lights off.
They'll fix that in post. Man, that is incredible. That must have cost to fly the plane to Van Nuys. I mean, had to be $500,000.
Maybe not
to do that, all that
maybe
shooting.
not,
Maybe not
that
quite
much,
that much.
But it was a good amount, I'm sure.
Nice. Well, do you think now, after this experience, do you think MrBeast's crew will ever do anything with an airplane again?
Do
you think they overall had a good experience, or did they learn wow?
I hope so. I hope
really
so because
expensive.
I'm kind of the de facto airplane guy. So
you're now Beast's guy.
I hope so. I don't know, but those guys are so creative. Like they're always just kind of moving on to the next thing.
I could see it already. Armando, they're going to be sending you to space here in 3 or 4 years. You better be careful. Bring your daughter.
I would do that. I'd go to space for 100 days.
Don't tempt him with a good time.
Wow.
Wait, weren't those astronauts out there for a year and they only got paid $2,500?
Yeah, they didn't get anything. Yeah. This is great.
You'll have to read the contract a little closer.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Before we let you go, Armando, you're in training right now, so we don't want to keep you up too late. Anything we forgot to ask you? Any great little stories to get us out? Oh, you had said something about talking on the CTAF, I think, to some local folks. Anything before we let you go?
That was my contact with the outside world. Is I would turn on the radios, and as I would see airplanes taxiing by, I would just talk to them on the radio and be like, "Yeah,
what's going on? What's the score of the Red Sox game?"
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I had some people come on by and check out the airplane. So I got a little bit of human contact.
That's funny.
Oh, man. All right, Armando, we are going to have all of your information in the show notes. You can follow him on Instagram and all the socials at Fly Alpha Juliet Charlie, and throw him a follow. He's already got some really cool stuff up there. And hey, listen, he's got a Hawker for sale too, maybe. So shoot him a DM.
Contract pilot, PC-12,
yeah,
Hawker
he can do
800.
it all. He's available. He
New
can
interior.
consult.
Don't hesitate to reach out.
Pay you guys for this?
No.
It's just a commission on the sale.
Yeah.
Well, we really enjoyed watching you. I got to say, as a parting thought for me, when I first saw the video and I was like, what pilot did they pick? I was just like, who is going to be representing us as a group, professional pilots? And I was like, you just never know what they would have selected. And
I was worried too. I was like, oh, God.
Man, you did such an awesome job of representing our profession and the people that fly business jets. So I just want to applaud you for the way that you conducted yourself, and you made it a great video to watch. So so we really appreciate that. And I know a lot of our listeners, maybe MrBeast isn't on your radar. Some of the shows, some of the episodes you may not like, but watch this one with Armando. You're really going to enjoy it. And it is definitely 33 minutes, you said? It's 33 minutes well spent.
Yeah, thank you for that. That means a lot. I wanted to just make sure I wasn't going to get roasted when I came out of it. And yeah.
Well done, sir.
Well done. All right, Armando, thank you so much. And until the next challenge.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
The statements made in this show are our own opinions and do not reflect, nor were they under any direction from any of our employers.